Right, so we're back. Welcome to NaviWork, your guide to navigating the work environment. Whether you're fresh out of school or you're transitioning from one organization to the next, we know that it can be challenging to navigate the waters because we've been there, we've done that, and we have won the t-shirt. I had said earlier that I am the amazing Ameze and that I am here to help. I don't know what happened to the last video. I shared the last video, but somehow we were kicked out, probably because of the song I played in the beginning, but that's fine. I saved it. So I also indicated that I'm the author of the best-selling book, Body Up, which is a 50-week guide to navigating the work environment. Yes. And the book, whether you're just fresh out of school or you're fresh in a new country or you are just you have new colleagues, just settling in, how to settle in, how to make friends, how to balance your life, how to set your goals, how to prioritize, the littlest things that you don't even know you need to do. We hope that this book and that the NaviWork platform provides. And today I did indicate in the first video that was cut short that we will be talking about health and wellness in the workplace. And I indicated that whether it had to do with tight deadlines, late nights at work, screen fatigue, which is what I must say today that I experienced when everything I was reading was almost becoming a blur. The cost of chasing success sometimes is our health, and it will be good for us to learn early. This is already the second half of the year. A lot of us are already fatigued, we're tired, we're faced work stress, we're thinking about how to manage and deal with that and navigate that. And it's a good time. I mean, I think I should have done this in January, but it's also a good time to kick back and understand how we need to manage our health even at this time. And I'm supposed to have two amazing professionals. One of them is already here. The other one is an emergency medicine works in emergency medicine. Or how do they say it? Works in pediatric emergency. So I will not be surprised if that's why he can't come. And I'm really grateful. We already started talking to Dhannya. We already started talking to her and we already started talking to her, and it was, we were going to go on. If Banky is able to join us, we'll add him as well. So I'm going to add her. I'm going to accept her request again and see how that goes. So I'm going. Yeah. So you have joined up. Perfect. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Perfect. So I don't want this to happen again. So I'm going to go right into it. I saw a
Yeah.
couple of people join the first time and they had to fall out. But let's go right into it. We're going to save the video. So what are the top 3 health red flags professionals often ignore until it's too late? Yeah. I mean, you can go as broad as you want to, whether it has to do with our mental health, physical symptoms related to burnout or stress. What are the things that professionals normally ignore until it becomes too late?
I think there are a lot of physical signs as to how you can recognize that you are burnt out.
Yeah.
There are mental and emotional signals as well. For example, when you're at home, you get really snappy at people. You like to be secluded. You don't like to talk to others. You like to keep to yourself. You withdraw. You,
Hmm.
if people invite you to go out, you withdraw because you rather stay on your own. And these are all little tiny characteristics that you can look into. For example, because you're so overwhelmed with work, you just want to be on your own.
Hmm.
And actually, that does not help you with the burnout. It just makes it worse.
Really?
Because at the end of the day, what happens is you think you're resting when you actually come home and you stay within a space, but you're on your own. There's no way you're replenishing your energy. You sleep 8 hours at night. The rest of the day, you should go. If you go out and grab a cup of coffee with friends, you can sit and you can talk about work. You can talk about things that stress you, and that helps to relieve the stress rather than keep it all in. And I personally would snap at people. Like, I'm a very family oriented person and I like talking to my mom and my dad. But if I've had a stressful day, if they ring and they ask me, how's your day been? I get snappy. I'm like, I don't really want to talk. Why are you asking me all of these questions? But actually, if I sit and I debrief with them,
Hmm.
it helps me feel lighter.
It's interesting that you would say that because one would think that if you came back from work, you're tired, you're stressed, you should just go into your room, lock the door, and think about your life. To realize that that in itself adds to the problem is a light bulb moment for me, literally. Like I'm literally like seriously because and now I'm understanding why I snap. Maybe that's why I am short fused with especially with my kids. And because sometimes when I am short fused with them, I ask myself, I'm quite intentional about that. That is, am I what they just did? Does it warrant this amount of snapping, or is it a
Yeah.
function of how you are feeling? And then I find myself apologizing and saying, oh, I don't think that I should have snapped at you that much. And they'll say, oh, no, no, mom, what we did was wrong. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think it was that. It warranted that amount of snapping. But it's
Yeah.
interesting that you would say that because I did think that not going anywhere, just staying alone and just watching a movie by yourself would help you decompress, you know.
Yeah, I think it's in the sense that there are some days where you just need a day to yourself, but there's a very thin line between having a day to yourself and then secluding yourself from others. Because,
And I think that's how it starts. You first say, oh, no, it's just a day to myself. Then the next thing, your friend said, do you want to come out for a cup of coffee? And you're like, not really, I'll make coffee at home.
yeah,
I remember my sister-in-law, my kids were going out with friends and they were not going to be, they're going away with friends and they were not going to be around. And my sister-in-law said to me, I think you should do what you would like to do if they're not around and go to the mall and go to the spa. And then I said to her, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit at home. And that's so unlike me. I'm the typical
yeah,
extrovert. I normally would like to be with people, but recently I've realized that I did say to her, there's nothing I can think about that I'd like to do that they're not around. I just want to sit by myself and maybe think about my life and maybe sulk or something. But I'm
yeah.
now realizing that that only adds to the problem. You don't feel
Yeah,
rested coming out of that kind of seclusion. Oh
no.
wow, I didn't know that. Thank you. It's already started off quite well. And so when we say so until it's too late, what can that possibly lead to?
So I think um the
Daniel,
main
can you put
issue,
somewhere that is brighter? We need to see your beautiful face. They're
you
not
can't
seeing
see
you.
me. Can you see me now?
Uh, uh,
Is that right?
this is better. Yes.
Okay. So
Uh-huh.
I think when it comes to the extreme, it would be extreme burnout. Burnout would be what I would be worried about the most. And burnout can be because you're stressed. Burnout can be because you're overworked. Burnout can be because you have difficult colleagues, and that is the reality. I personally feel it's a chain.
Hmm.
Like we work on a rota basis, so you know who you're working with on that day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I look at my rota and I see people who I don't gel well with, I have decided that I'm not going to have a good day
Aha.
because I feel like I won't be supported.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I look at my surroundings and I feel, oh, I have support. It's
Hmm.
people I can be myself with. It's people I can be vulnerable with.
Mm-hmm.
Because work comes with its own complexities. You want to be competent enough. You don't want people to think, is she good enough at her job? All of this adds stress, and we've got to come out of this. It's I feel like I am the sort of person who thinks all of these thoughts, and you have to
Hmm.
come out of it, and it's a very conscious act where I have to tell myself, no one cares what you do. You
Hmm.
work because you like to do the work you do.
Hmm.
What There should be some sort of passion to what you do. So
Hmm.
when you have passion, you can balance it. And
Hmm.
at the same time, passion can make you even go overboard, which isn't right. That's where
Yeah.
the problem is. When you go
Mm-hmm.
overboard, you exhaust yourself and you
Mm-hmm.
don't realize you're exhausting yourself.
Hmm.
And you have to
Hmm.
learn to draw boundaries, learn to say
Oh,
no.
you are jumping in, you're jumping in, you're jumping in. You're telling us so much too soon. Thank you so much. Wow. Okay. Let's flow. So you need to learn to draw boundaries, especially when you're like Daniel and you're a workaholic and you're enjoying what you're doing and then you're taking on. Because last week, when you were supposed to come on the live, they told you short notice that you needed to take a do cover for somebody and you did it, you know. So that's what you're talking about in terms of drawing
Yeah,
boundary.
you
Hmm.
have to draw a boundary because what happens is I don't think people tend to overstep a boundary, but we're all humans and our nature is to be opportunistic. That's how we are. And if someone sees that, oh, I she is a bit naive, I can get away with it,
Hmm.
people will use it to their
Hmm.
advantage. So you
Hmm.
have no one will protect you but yourself.
That's right. Right. And people will always flog a willing horse. So if you're willing, all well and good. You know, they're
Yeah.
grateful to have you do it. Okay. And I think I'm going to also talk about how this affects not women specifically, because Banky is going to come on, but hopefully, because he was saying to me, Ameze, I'm in pediatric emergency. So if I am, and he's out, he's in the hospital right now. He was going to do this during his
Yeah.
lunch break, but that if he gets a call, he's going to have to just do it. So if he gets free within it, I'll just get to add him. So how does chronic work stress show up in the body? Are there diseases or conditions directly linked to workplace pressure?
So one is anxiety,
Hmm.
and anxiety causes palpitations, which basically is just your heart tends to race really fast.
Hmm.
That puts you at a risk of developing other heart conditions. Stress increases blood pressure.
Hmm.
If you've got a family history of high blood pressure and you're stressed, it'll cause more stress. It's just going to increase your risk of developing high blood pressure.
Hmm.
A lot of people tend to have um, gut issues,
Hmm.
which then they would think is they've not eaten right, their eating habits aren't right, but
Hmm.
it's stress.
Wow.
Like, for
So stress
example,
affects your gut as well.
yeah, it affects your gut motility because the whole body is working based off your nervous system and how your brain thinks. If you're stressed and your brain is in fight and flight mode,
Hmm.
everything else is going to just it's going to move to extremes. For example, if you're stressed and you have an anxiety attack,
Hmm.
you start to hyperventilate, you feel like you can't breathe. For some people, they feel like they can't breathe. Some people breathe too much. Some people have cold and clammy hands and feet. You start to develop diarrhea. You always feel like you're full of gas. So these are all there. You always have to rule out an organic cause. Is
Hmm.
there any medical reason for it, or
Hmm.
is it anxiety?
I mean, I'm just hearing new things today that I didn't expect to hear. Well, I'm not a doctor, but I thought I had it nailed to a T. I didn't know that work stress could affect your gut health. I'm hearing that for the first time.
It can affect your gut because stress then causes y- y- your gut motility increases. For example, myself before an exam, I have diarrhea. Like I have episodes of diarrhea because I'm stressed.
Hmm.
And I didn't know it was a sign of stress. It was only after medical school, I think it was my last exam, and I would have to take medication to stop my bowel. And then I realized one of my professors said that it's just because you're stressed. The exam's over and then it's gone.
So I used to have that when in church I was going to lead worship, and I realized that every morning, when I know I'm going to lead worship, I would go to the toilet. I just thought it was anxiety. I didn't attribute it to the fact that probably this task was stressing me. I just thought I was anxious. And it happened every single time. In fact, there was a time I went back to my childhood church and I was like, oh God, I'm leading worship today in my church as an adult now. I need to go to the toilet. And my pastor then said to me, are you joking? This thing has been happening to you since you were a teenager. Are you saying it still happens to you? And I said, yes. So it's interesting to relate that to work, to stress. So
Yeah.
that means what it means is that I saw it. I mean, it was God's work, but it means that I really saw it. It is God's work. Sorry. I saw it as God's work. So every time I had to do it, I was nervous because of the weight of the responsibility I believed that, carried. Very interesting. So what practical coping strategies can we adopt today to manage pressure in high demand work environments? You work as a doctor, so it's high demand. Banky that was supposed to be here is probably attending to a child now because and all of that. So what are things that we can do? Because we can talk about it, sitting down for too long causes this, looking at the screen for too long because I problems when you're about to have an interview or you are nervous about a particular work colleague, you go to what can we do? We can't always leave the office. I mean, what are the practical things, that we can do to help manage these reactions so that we don't have the effect on our bodies?
I think first thing that I would suggest is we should always have a safe space.
In the office or at home?
I would say both.
Okay.
Have a safe space in at work and at home. And most of all, because I lead a very spiritual life, I go to God.
Mhm.
The first person I go to is God.
Mhm.
And I'll take if it's getting really busy, I
Mhm.
just then take a minute and I tell them I need a break to myself. And I think we need to vocalize things and tell people that I need a break for 15
Mhm.
minutes because I am not working right. Is it
Mhm.
okay if I take a break? You are entitled to take a break if you think you can't.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's difficult. It's to vocalize and say that I want to take a break and not feel guilty about it. Because
Mhm.
I think a lot of people think that break equals to you're slacking at work. No,
Mhm.
just because there's a big difference between working from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. without a break and working from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with intervals of break, because the break, the period that you take as break then increases your effectiveness
Mhm.
rather than
That's
you
true.
working continuously for 8 to 9 hours at a stretch and then getting so tired that at 12 you're so drained that the rest of the day you just drag on. Rather than that, take breaks in between, maybe a coffee break, a tea break, like scroll through Instagram or ring someone for like 10 minutes, tell them I'm only free for 10 minutes, but I want a short catch up. Do what you need to do, come back, and you start fresh, because that continuity of work just makes you so tired and drained that it affects how you work.
I had a boss once. I used to say to her that I just want to do everything and then I'll go and sleep. And then she would say to me, I've never seen someone that saves sleep. Like you will be planning the sleep. You will try to work, work, work. And then I realized that you're probably not as effective as you think you are. There's just a lot of movement, but not efficiency. And you want to do everything, but I realize personally that when I don't take those short breaks, as the day goes down, I am less productive.
Yeah.
I'm doing less. So maybe let's say I was typing, for instance, if I could type 100 words at the beginning of the day, as the day is going, as the day is progressing, in the same amount of time, I probably can type 50 words. In the same amount of time, I remember when I first started this job, I was so excited that I was finally working in the UK. And I worked so hard that at some point my eyes I'd been staring at two screens or something, and I was doing that for such a long time. And then I think I was now like seeing double. So I had to take a break. And then my manager said to me, nobody can help you pace yourself. You have to pace yourself. You need to get up. In my office, they have this thing where it tells you to get up every 5 minutes. There's no way I'm getting up every 5 minutes. I'm not there yet, but I try to, like, every hour stretch. Maybe not every hour, let me not exaggerate, but like intervals is what I'm saying. But you are right. That idea that if you sit at your desk, you don't get up. In fact, when I was in Nigeria, we had spots where people go and take power naps. And those power naps are really what they are. They are powerful. You sleep for 5 minutes and you think you have slept for an hour. You wake up so rejuvenated. You feel like you can take on the world. So those are very important things. And I think that people that are just joining the workforce, if you're just joining the live, this is Navi Work, your guide to settling into a new work environment with amazing Ameze and an amazing Dr. Dhannya that is with us today. And she's telling us things that at least I know I never knew before. I talk about wellness in the book, but I can assure you, I didn't write what she has said to me. The video will be uploaded, and we will be able to do catch-ups and do, tidbits. I wrote this book. It's on Amazon. It's on Seller. If you're not following us on YouTube, please go and follow us on YouTube and watch some of the videos. Dr. Banky has just joined. I'm going to invite him. Banky, you've missed you. We've said some great things, So I sent an invite to you, Banky. So immediately you get the invite, please accept and join us. And let me know if you've seen the request. Yay! Dr. Banky, you need to turn it. Oh, I told them that you are in emergency pediatrics. So I'm sure that you're with a patient. Thank you so much.
I just got home, so I do apologize for not being here on time. So I have stuff to sort out. So great to be here. Great to be here. So what did I miss?
Well, you missed. Okay, so this is Dhannya. She is an
Hi.
OGYN resident.
Hi, Dhannya.
Yeah, sorry, Dr. Dhannya. And this is Dr. Banky. So Dhannya is my friend from church. Banky is my friend from before I knew, in fact, before I was 5. No, when I was about 5. We've been friends since like for 40 years and some. Banky's about 40 years old. Wow. It's
Crazy,
amazing.
Isn't it? All right.
It is.
Enough for the past history.
So Banky, so Banky, so both of them work in the UK, but they don't know each other. Banky is somewhere, Dhannya somewhere. But Banky worked in the Caribbean before, and he has worked in the UK for the last 12 years. So we had asked, we started with questions around what are the top health red flags, and she talked about the fact that all that, even coming home and wanting not to be with anybody, is a sign of work stress. I thought that was you resting. I'm telling you, so I mean, I don't want to go back. People will go back to it, but I genuinely thought that when I come home and I say I want to decompress, I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to go out, that is me decompressing. But she said that could actually add to stress. So trust me, that blew me away. So I talked about all this snapping, and we're talking about snapping at the kids and all those kind of things. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. Then I asked her, what are the chronic work stress? The way how does chronic work stress show up in the body?
Yeah.
She talked about. I didn't know that gut issues could also be linked to work stress, Banky. She talked about how when there's anxiety, I thought gut was you're not eating well. Take yogurt, take all these things, gut health. I didn't even know that work stress could also affect your gut health. People are
Yeah.
hailing you guys. Well done. So now we're talking about practical coping mechanisms that you can employ. And she talked about taking breaks at work, and telling people, I need a break. You know how you don't want to say you need a break because you feel like you're lazy, you feel like you are being slothful. Do
Yeah.
your work, sit at your desk and do that 8 hours straight. She said, nah, you're not productive.
No.
I just realized that I need the nap, and it's called a power nap for something. You sleep 5 minutes and it feels like you slept for 5 hours, and you're ready to go again. You take a walk, you call a friend and have
Yeah.
a chat. You just feel revived. So I mean, that's where we are. We've been talking, and it seems like I mean, I didn't even know I didn't know so much, but that's why I like learning. Learning makes you know how much you don't know. So, this question I'm going to ask Banky, I think you can take it first. How can working mothers and fathers protect their mental health while juggling career demands and raising children? Last month or 2 months ago, we invited a guy, and he talked about how men need to cut themselves some slack. There's a lot of pressure. You want to provide. How can you protect your mental health? Because you will juggle work, you will juggle business, you will juggle children, you will juggle family, you will juggle relationships. What are practical things that they can do? I need you to please address things like guilt, burnout, boundaries, social pressure, black tax. Please, how can we juggle? Thank you, Dr. Banky.
Well, first of all, coming from a male perspective, as in we all know that, especially from an African male perspective, and I'm sure some cultures also, men are supposed to be the providers. Men are supposed to deal with things and just suck it up and get on with it. You're supposed to be the ones to take care of the family, and you're supposed to be the one to provide for your family and your wife. The thing is, a lot of times we get lost in the hustle.
Hmm.
And that's what people need to understand. We get lost in the hustle that we have to make this money, we have to take care of the children, and we always, which is from a guy's perspective, we always forget to take care of ourselves. It's really hard to try and juggle, but it is very important to have that life balance, especially from the perspective of dealing with things at work and trying as much as possible not to bring them home. That's number one. Because when you bring home work, it affects you, it tells on you, it stresses you mentally, and that automatically extends to your family, to your children. And that is when you get dads snapping at their children for the slightest of things. You know your wife is irritating you and she's just trying to be caring and loving, but because you have brought home all that stress from work, you tend to and we tend to keep it to ourselves. So the most important thing is mental health is real in men, and it has been shown from the statistics that the percentage of men with mental health is actually it's creeping higher than women now. And that, I'm guessing, is because of the awareness. Because in the past, guys didn't used to go and say, I've got mental health issues. So I'm guessing that percentage is higher. And it's only because guys don't come out and say. So find someone who you can talk to. Find a friend, someone you can confide in. It's important to share that labor. It's important to share that, that stress. It's important to someone you can confide in, someone you know that you can easily relate to. Speak to them. if you're from a religious background or from a Christian or Muslim background, right? You can speak to a pastor, you can speak to, you can speak to your God. But one thing people need to understand, God doesn't always come down from heaven to try and solve your problems. He brings someone in your life to actually try for you to talk to and for you to relate with. Okay? So the other thing is knowing how to manage things at work. Also, it can go both ways. You can also take your stresses at work, at home to work. And that is when you get people getting to work, beginning to, it starts affecting your relationship with your colleagues, with your friends, and also with your patients. And it's good sometimes to take a step back, and it's very important to take a break if you see that you're getting to that level of burnout and you need to take a break. Just take a break. It's hard, I would say that, because from a man's perspective, you want to be able to provide for your family. You want to be able to give them everything you want, they need, because it makes you feel inadequate as a man, that I can't provide for my family. I can't provide, my kids want this for school, I can't get it. My kids want that. And we always tend to have this mentality of comparing ourselves to other people. Your race is not the same. Okay, so everyone's race is totally different. You see your neighbor, his kids have got, nice bikes, or they've got nice cars and they're going on holidays. You want that for your kids, so you tend to push yourself, but your time will come. So just like I said, it's hard, but the key thing here is talking to people. You need to share that load. You need to speak to someone, talk to someone to help you, deal with all those problems. And sometimes it might just be someone you don't expect. And that might be the person that might just give you that keyword that you need. And from your spouse, it's important because you have a relationship with your spouse. So yes, guys, obviously. I don't want to tell my wife what I'm going through. I want to keep it inside. Yeah, I want to be macho, but sometimes it's that is the person you should go to. It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't. So, talk to your spouse and let them know. I'm guilty of it. Like, number one person to just keep things inside and just try to deal with it. But it wears you down. And physically, when you are mentally tired, you underestimate how much that affects your physical body, because your brain is pretty much the interpreter telling your body what is going on. So if you're tired up here, the way your body interprets it is, I'm tired too. And everything, just that's when you start having chronic fatigue. And the other thing we need to know about is when you start, hormonal system affects different things that your body secretes, and it can affect how your body functions. So that depression, stress, it affects your hormonal secretions. That also affects, the way your kidneys functions, your liver functions. There's certain things that your liver secrete when when you're under stress. You're putting your liver under a lot of tension. When you're stressed, you get hypertensive. Your blood pressure rises. That affects your heart. That affects your kidneys. So mental health is real, people, and it will tend to affect your physicality also. So it's important to try as much as possible. I won't ramble on too long. It's important to try as much to protect your mental health, because it's key. It's key, because if that's not right, trust me, your body will follow.
Right. You said very, very fascinating things about the mental health and stuff like that. And I need Dania to say, because you talked about hormonal, and we don't really see men as hormonal, we see women as hormonal. And Dania, like we said at the beginning, is an OBGYN resident. So I wanted to ask her, so all of this stress, work-related stress, kids not eating the way you want them to eat, friends not showing up when you need them to show up, work stressing you, how does it affect your body? I was having a conversation with Banky, I think it was yesterday, and I was telling him how one of my pastors said to me that, you know, people encourage you to cry and to do this and do all of those things. And that when God says be anxious for nothing, is because God knows that anxiety causes problems in your body. And that she did all these things when she was younger, but the impact of those tears, of those years of anxiety, of all those days, she began to feel them in her old age. So for Banky has talked about men, what would you say to women on how to manage work stress and how it affects them hormonally?
I think it's a very misogynistic statement, but it's true. Women are really hormonal. Everything in terms of how we function and every phase of our cycle is it depends on the hormone that's secreted, the amount of hormone that's secreted. If you don't have the right amount, you have certain symptoms. If you have less of something, you have another symptom. So we are very hormonal beings, and it, believe it or not, it affects your fertility as well. And for women, that is a big thing. It affects your fertility rate, it affects the quality of life you have, and basic things like menopausal symptoms, premenstrual syndrome, all of these things get affected. And like like Banky said earlier, you can take that to work as well. Like if you're extremely hormonal and you've got very bad premenstrual syndrome, you take that to work, and that also affects your work. At the same time, you've got to find a balance where you can recognize where you're having an issue. The first step is to recognize. Once you recognize, you can start working on it and building on it and find the gaps and sort those things out. If you feel like I'm not doing well hormonally or something is not right, get it checked. Start from there. Maintain a balanced diet that helps a lot with your hormones. Exercise. You can be tired, but at the same time, if you just go out for a walk for 30 minutes, it makes all the difference. That fresh air and that walk makes a lot of difference. And that itself can help, getting things right.
So I notice particularly in my life when I am about to be on my period or when I'm on my period, I am very irritable. And then I snap and I don't realize it. So when I first of all, you talked about recognizing it. So when I recognize that around this period, I can my senses are heightened. I can smell anything. I can see something is smelling foul here, and everybody's saying, "What are you smelling?" Nobody can smell what I'm smelling, but I can smell it. So I'm like, something this, and I'm getting. So the first thing was recognize it. So I realized that in that period, I'm normally very quiet. The reason why I'm quiet is because I feel like if I react, and I react less or respond less, I feel like, and every time I respond, I don't raise my voice because I realize that I don't know whether I'm shouting because I am just in the moment. I talk so low that people that talk to me in that period say to me, I can't I can't hear you, because I am so intentional that this season I know that something is happening in my body this period every month. In fact, some friends of mine used to say that, I mean, your life revolves around your period, because I'm like, okay, I'm about to be, or I am in, or it's just finished. So the smoothness of my face is affected. The size of the bloating is affected. My irritability level is affected. My sense of, so first of all, recognizing that is very, very important, and that it affects fertility is so key, because most women, a lot of women want to be mothers, and to think that being stressed, not managing work stress, can affect your fertility is hardcore. So we need to take that into consideration. I was going to, it's just that we're running out of time, and I know that you guys are very busy people, and I know that you want to go for your walk to rejuvenate, or you want to go and take your nap. There are just so many questions. So we've talked about sleep and things like that. So I don't think I'm going to ask questions about because people used to say sleep is overrated, but both of you have said rest, because sleep is not overrated. Sleep, when I get a good sleep, Banky and Dhannya. I know. And then I also know when I have closed my eyes for 8 hours and I have not slept, especially because in that sleep, I can hear footsteps. If you're sleeping, you shouldn't be able to hear footsteps, I believe. But in that sleep, I literally can hear footsteps. It is ridiculous. So I know that sleep is not overrated. It came from a work culture that is trying to drive people crazy. It is definitely not overrated. I don't know whether to let you guys talk about that a bit, or go to the next. No, I think you guys should talk about it. Please. Sleep.
Oh,
Banky,
well,
please go. Yeah.
the thing is, with it is important with sleep. Well, this is coming from somebody who doesn't who is not practicing what he preaches. Uh, it's important that the body gets a certain level of rest and recuperation. It's actually quite important, and that's why it's actually, and getting it at the right time is also very important, because there's something called your circadian rhythm, in which the body is made to sleep more restful and be more restful during nighttime instead of daytime. So, and that's why statistics has also shown that shift workers who work very odd hours instead of sleeping at night, waking up in the morning, are at a higher risk of or developing chronic diseases, and it actually shortens their lifespan. So, so
So
the
please,
thing
how
is,
much sleep? Because there's so many stories. We've heard rich people before say that if you want to be successful in life, you should sleep only 4 hours. We've heard people say that you should sleep 8 hours is the third of your life. We've heard people say that you should sleep 12 hours. How much sleep? Because the research is confusing. How much
well,
sleep should we be sleeping?
to be honest, I'm not a sleep therapist, so I don't really know the absolute answer to that. But I would say the body should at least get a minimum of 7 to 8 hours sleep. As in, I would say that minimum.
7 to 8,
So
not
yeah.
78. Seven to
No,
eight. It's
seven
your
to
phone that
eight,
was
and
confusing me. Sorry.
78. How are you getting 78 hours?
A week.
You'll be you'll be in heaven by that time. You're sleeping 78 hours. So no, it's 7 to 8 hours. You should, because the thing is, once again, when you're asleep, there are certain things that tend to happen. Okay, you tend to have less release of some certain substances in the body that could trigger all kind of things. You tend to have release of certain substances that help your vessels, relax and vasodilate and help circulation and help perfusion to your brain, and it just pretty much helps your body recover. It's as simple as that. But if if you get sleep deprived, it's not the best for your body, and the thing is, it will also start affecting your thinking, especially when you're at work. When you, I would tell you this from an A&E perspective. There are times when you would not even know when you're not enough. You'll be talking to a patient and you just be going like that,
Wow.
because you're sleep deprived, and then talking about driving back home. And so it's important to get proper rest, and it can affect so many things. If I talk about it, I'll just go on for hours.
Okay.
So
Dania,
I'll
sleep,
let
sleep,
Dania
sleep for
have
women.
a, yeah.
Sleep.
I think, like he said, is 7 to 8 hours at least minimum sleep you need. Your your body needs to be refreshed. Your mind needs to be refreshed. You need to think clearly. Your brain starts to get foggy if you've not slept properly. You can't make sound decisions, and you feel like after a point you feel like you're floating in air. I do a lot of night shifts, and they're not when you work as a shift worker, it's not sitting in front of a computer all night. It's physical work, and you're running around and you do it at odd hours, and it takes at least a week to recover from just 2 or 3 nights of working, which is it's it takes a toll on your body. You start to feel tired all the time. your body feels like it's in pain all the time, and it's not the best. You should have good sleep at the right time, because then you feel refreshed in the morning and things are better in the morning. But too
Okay,
much
so
sleep is also not right. You shouldn't
aha.
sleep. You
Mhm.
can't do not oversleep. I would never recommend being oversleep, because if you sleep too much, you then are tired as well. So you've got to
Mhm.
find the right balance, not to overdo it, but not underdo it as well.
Hmm. So now I have the questions are great. So I'm trying to now pick and choose what's important, but I'm going to go from something Dhannya said before Banky joined, when she talked about sometimes looking at her rota and seeing you're working with specific people, and that puts you under pressure because maybe you know they're not supportive, or you like it's different when you go to work and these are the people you just know them. But sometimes in your case, at least you have the privilege of not working with people that stress you. How do you deal with, from a medical perspective now, how do you deal with like a toxic workplace? What are the warning signs, and how should you prioritize your health in that situation? How do you know that this is definitely toxic, and what are the signs on your body or in your body that is showing you that, man, this person is toxic for you, this work environment is toxic for you, and this is what it's doing to you? Danya, you go first because you mentioned that first.
Well, to be fair, I mean, for me, it's very simple. I do what I need to do, and I've learned to respectfully voice my opinion, because there's no point keeping quiet. If you feel like something's not being done the right way, or you feel like you're being under pressure, you feel like I feel like I'm under pressure, I escalate it to the next person that I need to. Because I grew up in an Indian household and I trained in a country like India, it was inbuilt that you do what you're told to do. And I
Yes.
never, however, the work culture here is very different. You you have the option to escalate something. You can go up the ladder or the ranks and say that this is how I feel. I don't think I can handle this. And it is making those decisions actively, even if
Mm,
you're uncomfortable. Because for me, it was a very uncomfortable step, because I then would think, am I incompetent? Is that why I feel this way? But then
mhm.
I realized it's not about my competence. It's just, it's not safe.
That's
It's
right.
You have to practice what is safe. And if
Mm.
you feel like you're not being supported, escalate it. Tell the next person in charge that I don't feel that I can make the right decisions, because I don't feel safe and comfortable at this point. I'm stressed and I think I need extra hands to help me.
That's very interesting because the Indian culture is quite similar to the Nigerian one. We do what we're told, and your inability to do what you're told is saying that you're incompetent. But asking for help here is like, here you can say, I need 3 extra screens for the kind of work you're giving me to do. It's affecting my eyes, and this is not good for my health, and they'll get you those screens. Here you can say, I need a personal day, and they will understand what that means. It's different, but our crowd is not just Indians or Nigerians or people that live here. We have people that are back home in India or back home in Nigeria. And I think the balance to that would be saying it respectfully, because here it's saying what you need to say. I find, like, here, if you want to go on vacation, you just go on the app and put in your days, and your manager will approve it. In Nigeria, there's the culture of having that conversation in case your Oga is not really ready for you to go. You cannot really just be saying that you want to go. You know what I mean? So I had to be explaining to my manager to say that, okay, I want to go on vacation. And then I had to explain to her why I'm having the conversation first. She said, okay, she understands, but just letting me know that you don't really have to do it. It's your vacation. You are entitled to it. Please be going. Especially when the person you're working with is going to be available and you're not creating a gap. We don't need to have a conversation. So there is a requirement for respect, which is important, but it depends on what we also call respect and what respect really is. But it is important that if you are in Nigeria or in India or in a culture that respect is very, 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 it's viewed in a certain way. You need to be able to communicate how you don't feel supported in a respectful way. Now, I will not round up. This is the last question to Banky that both of you can answer before you give us our 3 non-negotiables. Banky, hustle culture. That's the question. Is the hustle culture sustainable? I'm not attacking you. I'm giving you this question because you talked about it. Is the hustle culture sustainable, or is it slowly killing us? And what is the healthy alternative?
Well, I would say the hustle culture is, it depends. So there's a saying that goes, work smart, not hard. So if you're working hard and you're not getting results, or you're not getting the results that you're expecting to see, and you keep working hard, you're just going to wear yourself out. So there is a point where your hustle has to become a smart hustle. So you have to then reevaluate and see, okay, what am I doing that's wrong? What am I doing that's making this all difficult? What can I do to make this, okay, progress the way I want it to? And then you have to reevaluate and see the things that you can put into. So you can get advice from people who have done it before. You can get advice, from it's not no man is an island. So you can't just sit there and say, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. No, you can read books, you can listen to audiobooks, you can listen to podcasts. So there are many ways that can tell you how to achieve that hustle, but in a smart way. You do not want to use your health to chase the hustle. And eventually, when you get the hustle, you then use all you have achieved and all the wealth you have achieved from the hustle to buy your health.
If
It
you
makes
can.
no sense.
If you
If you
can.
can. If you can. So the thing is, I think bottom line is, it is sustainable if you work smart. And it also depends in what field you work. Okay,
Because
so
hustle by the name itself, Banky, just hustle is hustle. It sounds hustle, it sounds like stress.
it sounds like stress, but from a guy's perspective, a man has to. So the hustle just means, okay, career goals, okay, and what are your goals? So what goals do you want to achieve, either in your career, either if you're a sports person, as a sports person, or as a business person? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to make? Have you set a goal for yourself to say you want to make 50 million in a space of 3-4 years, and how are you going to achieve it? But if you keep working hard and you're not even scratching the surface of that goal, then you need to, like I said, reevaluate and then work smart. Um, Sometimes we get caught into this spiral of work home, work home, work home, work home, and it becomes a routine, especially from a locum perspective, where you just want to achieve get money to be able to feed the family and take care of yourself and get the better things in life. But after a while, it just becomes a routine, and you can easily get lost in it. And before you know it, time has just passed you by. So sometimes you might need to take a break and just reevaluate and go, what do I want? What exactly do I want? And how can I achieve it the best possible way possible? The
Best
best
response.
possible way. Yeah,
Yeah.
best way possible. Sorry. And like I said, work smart, don't work hard.
Okay. You guys are busy, but please, before you go, what would you prescribe as a wellness prescription for every career professional today? What will be your top 3 non-negotiables? So I'll let Dhannya go first so that Banky can think hard after she has said the 3 and say, oh God, she said what I wanted to say. God. So ladies first, what are your top 3? You must not negotiate with this if you're going to have a long life, a long career. what are the things, medical perspective, mental health, physical health, whatever it is, emotional health, what are the top 3 things you must not negotiate?
One I would say would be keep strict boundaries.
Okay.
Learn where to say no and learn when to ask for help. The next thing would be it's very simple. Fuel yourself well in terms of nutrition, in terms of um, trying to maintain a well-balanced diet, a well-balanced lifestyle. You need to have good company. You need to have a good support system to help you through a rough patch. At the same time, you need friends, family. Realize that you're not doing this on your own and you have resources out there to help you. And always be insightful and reflection on each situation. If you think that something's not gone right or I've not handled the situation well, reflect on it. What is it that I can change about it? What are the things under my control that I can change? And just do those things.
Amazing. Thank you, Dhannya. Thank you. Banky, top 3.
That sounds like she's just finished her e-portfolio. Reflect, reflect, reflect. But yeah, she's right. She's absolutely right. I think work-life balance is very important. I think that's a major thing, and knowing your limits. Knowing your limit, and as you said, knowing when to say no, as in that is knowing your limit. As in, people around you is very important. People around you they can make or break you, which is very important. So if you surround yourself with the right people, with the people who are like-minded in the goals you want to achieve, you will achieve those goals. If you surround yourself with people who are not of the same mindset, who are of lower mindset, they will bring you down to their level. They will bring you lower down. So always associate yourself with people of the same mindset and of the same goals that you want to achieve. No, I'm sounding like some philosopher or something, but it's important. Exercise is key. We're not getting any younger, and we need to exercise, and that's most important. Okay. Once again, I don't practice what I preach, but it's very important. And nutrition, as she said, very, very important. Guys, we need to be aware of our mental health. That is number one. We keep a lot of things inside. We bottle a lot of things inside, and we just think. And from an African man's perspective, that is, yeah, African man know they cry. We don't cry. African men don't cry. African men don't share problems. Okay, we deal with it. No. Sometimes, a problem shared is a problem solved. So just, yeah, reach out to your boys, once in a while. Don't be too worried that okay, they'll laugh at you. But sometimes even if they laugh at you, you joke about it. It's a weight off your shoulder. So that is what I would say.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. What an insightful session. A huge, I'm hugging you guys. Thank you so much for sharing practical insights and being as real. And also the science backs a lot of the things you were talking about in terms of the hormones that you release, things that have been scientifically proven, so you didn't just gist us or just, you also backed it up with medical science and what research has shown. So, we're very, 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 very grateful for that. And I'm hoping that this will help us to manage our health and even our life in general well, not just at work, but even when we get back home. And to everyone who's watching now, I see a lot of people joined, and some people fell out along the way. To everyone who's watching now and those that will watch later when we upload it on LinkedIn or where you watch the video later, please remember that your career is not a marathon. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're not going to achieve it like that. It's not what's the shortest race? 100 meters or 50 meters? I don't know. It is more like a marathon where there will be twists, there will be turns. So don't try to make the $50 million today. Don't try to make it all in one day. Pace yourself. It is a sprint. It is a marathon, not a sprint. So try to pace yourself. And you're not in competition with anybody. That pressure of people are doing this by now, I should be doing this. Get the pressure off yourself. Just make sure that you are living and you are living well. So please recognize that. Take care of your body. Guard your mind. Men and women. Banky focused on the men a lot because obviously it used to be a thing that men don't talk. But Banky, I think men are talking now. Maybe a bit too much. But that's the story for another day.
Probably
Yes,
not
so
African. Probably not African man though.
at all. But nourish your bodies, nourish your life, guard your mind. Banky and Daniel did talk about your circle. Your circle, whether you like it or not, infiltrate your mind. So guard your mind and make sure that doesn't pollute you. Create a rhythm, So don't let your rhythm just be home and work, but have things that you do, even within that rhythm. And so nourish your life, not just your LinkedIn profile, because we like all those hefty LinkedIn profiles that we don't even know what they mean. Sometimes you read your LinkedIn profile to yourself and you're saying, what does this even mean? But please nourish your life. And if the conversation blessed you, please don't keep it to yourself. Many people need to hear these things. Many people need to hear a man telling them to be vulnerable. Many people need to hear a woman, like a man needs to hear a man saying you need to be vulnerable. Women have to hear a female OBGYN resident saying this can affect your reproductive system, this stress that you're dealing with. So they need to hear that. And so please share the video, tag a colleague or a friend, and follow us on NaviWork on our YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and watch one of the videos, because even if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, I don't watch a video, it will not count. So please do that for more career and life-changing conversations. And so until the next time, please live well, work smart, and keep becoming. It's not, thank you, Mr. Team Boss. Your career is not a sprint, it's more of a marathon. So thank you, Banky. Thank you, Dhannya. We will be in touch with our gift boxes. We just a way of saying thank you to you. But we're truly grateful for this. I was learning from the beginning, from the first 5 minutes of the session. So thank you all so much. And have a good evening. We normally say have an amazing week, but have an amazing weekend. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye, Banky. Bye.